Good evening. The idea for this video is prodigies. I'm gonna get right into it. So, when I was actually introduced to this idea very early on in my life at school, maybe second grade, I think around there. The idea of prodigies was brought to us in the form of playing piano. No, I don't know why it was, but I remember early on in school, like elementary school, we were always told about how the biggest geniuses and the biggest prodigies, how they all played piano. I mean, people were praised at such a high level for playing piano. I can play the piano a little bit. I cannot play any particular song or symphony at all. I cannot read musical notes. Not at all. I can't read any musical notes. Whatever I may have learned, I forgot, and I would have learned very early on. But I can play a little bit, and then I can kind of key and get a vibe going on the piano. That's a different situation though. But to be honest, I don't agree with that. I mean, it was so heavily talked about. Mozart and Beethoven were talked about like they were bigger than Einstein. It was ridiculous. And then when I got older, it was Einstein, like fifth grade, sixth grade was about Einstein and what was that guy's name? The theory of Charles Darwin, and both I thought was just ridiculous. I feel like, but I mean, it is what it is. You know what I mean? That is what it is. But really, that's who you're taught is the top prodigies. That's simply not true. However, I don't largely disagree with what the school curriculum teaches about prodigies. So nowadays, especially in Canada, skilled trades are very appreciated. I remember being a kid and they were talking about a fact about how first year plumbers made the same amount of money as first year family doctors. And I remember being told that. I mean, in Canada, I mean, is an electrician or a plumber, a licensed electrician or plumber really make very good money, very top dollar. Um, and that's understood. So skilled trades are understood. Now they have this trend going on. Well, when I went to high school, they started this trend where they were encouraging skilled trades, and they would tell people, you don't have to go to this top level university for chemistry or biology or mathematics or engineering. You can do skilled trades. You know what I mean? And they were really throwing that in there. But I mean, engineering is thought to be thought is thought of highly, but at the time they were selling it, and they're still selling it today. Skilled trades in Canada make the best money that in any country, including Australia. I would say Canada and Australia have the highest earning wages for skilled trade. They just simply don't get paid that money in other countries. So that's something to consider. Now, the truth is that you can use the prodigy in any sense. You know what I mean? You can have a prodigy in basketball and all that stuff. Um, in my opinion, there is no easy way to do anything. Nothing comes easy. And to be very honest, I really do think that earning money is overrated. Now, earning money is valuable, and that money you can use for a lot of good things, to treat yourself, to a lot of good things in life, whether you consider them necessary needs or wants. Yeah, money can do that, but it's a bit overrated. You know what I mean? There's a lot of things in life that you need. You know what I mean? We've talked about the other day about money appeals and money fantasies, and getting caught up in all that, and you don't want to get caught up in all that. But I learned from an early age, like money was not, even being at the basic level zero, level one kid, and even adult that I was, I knew that money wasn't everything. At the young age, I understood that survival was more important than money. And survival was underrated, but that was something that was important to me. I understood the idea of survival. I looked at it as a reality. Even as a child, I was very careful and I had a very good sense of survival. I didn't take certain chances and I didn't have lifestyles or ideas that some kids gained early on. I had a very fixated kind of traditional type of growing up, where I value things like school and being a good kid and things like that, which I think is very important to survival. Survival was a bit, now I'll tell you one of the things. So survival really hit it big when I started playing Age of Empires. I started playing, so in about fourth or fifth grade, so Pokemon was big in third grade. And fourth or fifth grade, I started playing these strategy games, like Age of Empires, and there were many other games, but Age of Empires was the main one. It had multiple parts and everything. But I looked at that as essential. You know what I mean? What if I'm rich? And I'm thinking of the Empire ages and those civilizations. I might be rich, but what happens when a war goes down? You know what I mean? What happens in that case? If war is going on and the question of survival comes about, what is your priority now? Is it money or is it survival? Survival is the most important base thing that it is, that there is. You know what I mean? Survival to me is a priority over earning money. When you have your survival straight, when you're strong and you have a foothold in whatever area of the world that you're in, and you understand the concept, the idea of surviving on a daily basis or on a long-term basis, you know what I mean? You have to understand how to survive before you understand how to make money. You know what I mean? I remember the idea of, what was this? So I forgot what this martial art, I think it was called Savate. If I'm not incorrect, I think it was called Savate. This was a French martial art. Typically, martial arts were started in Oriental countries, in East Asian countries like China and Japan. Japan and China, they did Kung Fu and Karate and the old martial arts, but there was actually a martial art that I believe was called Savate, which was started in France. It began because there was some kind of revolution going on in France. I don't know if it was an industrial revolution or what, but this was a modern martial art. And what happened was that a lot of people who had money were getting robbed in the street. So people from higher classes who came from more money and quite well-to-do backgrounds, they were chosen as ideal targets by street people, for money. And literally, it was just to rob them. That was it. They would get attacked with brass knuckles, with bats and metal weapons, and they would get attacked and in order to just really just to rob gold coin or silver coins off of them. So they created this martial art called Savate, which was for the upper class, and it was meant to defend yourself in the street. You know, if you think this martial arts is a thing of fantasy, remember this, that there's another martial art which is called, what is it called? Oh, I can't remember. Krav Maga. So Krav Maga is a modern martial art that was created by Israel or the Israeli Mossad forces for the similar reason that Palestinians would rob Israelis on the street. You know, with a knife, with a bat, with a hammer, you know, any kind of weapon that they could put in their hand, they would rob an Israeli who was well-to-do, who had money on him. I mean, if you're gonna rob somebody and you rob another poor person, what are you gonna get? Think about it in today's term. If I go rob some panhandler or some beggar or some street crack addict or something like that who's homeless, what am I gonna get from that from that individual, from him or her? What am I gonna get? $6 or $7? $6 or $7, a half a bottle of liquor? What am I gonna get from robbing them? So ideally, you know, people who had money were being robbed, and this was brought up in Israel. Now, I'm not an expert on Israel. I'm not an expert on France. I've been to neither country, but Krav Maga was a street defense that was created. But it was created not only to prevent you from being robbed. Krav Maga was about being attacked because a lot of Israelis were being attacked and being victimized. So they created, especially from Mossad, they created this defense, and this defense was made for like the alleyways of Israel and Palestine, like these little alleyways. There were buildings and houses everywhere, and you had little alleyways to run through. And it's just based on, it's just pretty much defending yourself and hitting somebody enough that they may fall or they may be hurt enough that you can run away with what you have, and you run away from them. That's pretty much what it's based on. It's literally like kick, punch. If the guy falls, bam, you just run away. And you're expecting multiple attackers to rob you. Just supposed to prevent you from being robbed, basically. But I think Savat came out in the 1800s or something like that, in the Industrial Revolution or something similar. Similar for people who don't want to get robbed. You know what I mean? Now, I'm not the biggest believer in all this, but obviously, here's another interesting fact. The Uzi was created in modern times in Israel. And the Uzi is supposed to be a small, light weapon that can shoot, like a machine gun, like it shoot multiple shots without carrying a big clip or a big assault rifle in your hand. You know what I mean? So these things are made to help people in those situations. And that's really... that's all I have right now. I think it's good. I just wanted to kind of point out that survival comes before earning money. You know what I mean? But in these cases, these people had money already, and they were a bit threatened by the survival method, and that required them to compensate for their for their situation of basically being picked on by being able to defend themselves and able to keep themselves from getting robbed. You know what I mean? So that's very important. And it is what it is. That's all I have. That's all I have to talk about. But it's just to stress the fact that money is not your only thing. It's not that you have money and now you're fine. That's not how it works at all. You should make sure you have, that you're able to survive in the threats that you have in your particular region of the world, and then maybe work about getting money. Anyways, I'm done. I'm going to say good evening again, and we're done with this video.